Well, hello again, everybody. This is another interview for DECT Today magazine and for the DECT Forum YouTube channel. There's been a great deal of talk over the last 12 to 18 months about DECT NR+, but it's been pretty much all from the perspective of the industry itself and the companies developing within that industry. We thought we'd like to know a little bit more about how people from outside are looking at DECT NR+, and specifically today, the academic sector. So I'm talking to Joonas Säe of Tampere University. Joonas is a staff scientist at the university. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your own background.
So, well, thanks for the invitation, and yeah, how long history do you want? Perhaps I will focus on the academic side then. So
Okay.
if we take it back a little bit, so 2012 I graduated from Tampere University of Technology with a wireless communications as my major, and I was basically specializing in radio network planning.
Okay.
Then I did for 1 year some consultancy and field measurement work, and also some fault management for mobile network operators. Then I actually came back here to the university, did my PhD in 4 years, and was then focusing more on this kind of mobile networks as a kind of a emphasis there. But then after that, I continued here, and I've been working mainly now with these different kinds of wireless networks, and I'm basically developing our research infrastructures. So everything to do with wireless communications. That's basically my background.
Well, anybody that's been around this industry for a while will know that Tampere is a little bit of a technology development hotspot. But perhaps you can tell us a little bit about Tampere University itself and its interest in the technology sector.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we have quite a bit of history. You can see from my background that we actually have a year of celebration this year. Depending on now what do we mean with this, or how do we calculate this, but 100 years has been basically our story. If we think about the current university's backgrounds, it is actually a combination of two different universities, University of Tampere and Tampere University of Technologies, that merged together 6 years ago, 2019. But we are actually quite closely collaborating with the industry. So there's a very high collaboration going on. This is basically backed up also with the Times Higher Education lists, where we are actually rated very high in this industry collaboration. And if I remember correctly, last year when we think about the young universities, we were among the top 50. So I think that's telling something about this university, and we do have a lot of collaboration with the industry, specifically with different kinds of industrial verticals. So we are doing a lot of collaboration with the companies around this area, and of course, as you know, Nokia is from this area, so we have a very strong collaboration with them and history, and that's also still going on. So that's of course pushing things quite a lot ahead.
Indeed. I did once visit Nokia in Tampere myself many years ago. So okay. Small claim to fame. So
good choice.
Thank you. So
it's a nice city.
How did you first become aware of DECT NR+ and the work of companies such as Nordic Semiconductor and of course Wireless?
Well, perhaps I could turn it around a little bit and say that I know Wireless very well, because if we take a bit of a history recap, some 20 years ago, actually Wireless started as a startup company from Tampere University of Technology at the time. Mm-hmm. So it is the roots of Wireless is actually at our university, where the first this kind of a wireless sensor network protocols were developed. We had our own protocols, and those were like some of the core ideas and techniques that they then developed further in Wireless. And now if we come back to this DECT NR Plus. So I would say that 2018 we started to plan a collaboration with Wirepass and some other companies in Finland that was focused on basically doing this kind of a project that was called 5G Finnish Open Research Collaboration Ecosystem, or 5G FORCE. And within this project, we were actually then developing 5G specific standards. As we know these days, DECT NR Plus is part of this IMT 2020, which was actually one of the highlights of that project, that it was included there. So that's the origin where we come with this, ETSI DECT-2020 NR, as we say in that side, but basically DECT NR Plus was started from our point of view from that time, and we've been collaborating with Wirepass and other companies since then and been involved in the standardization projects. So we know that quite a lot.
And from your point of view as an academic, why do you find DECT NR Plus interesting?
It is very interesting because it's so, I would say, I mentioned that we've been involved at our university, this kind of wireless sensor network technologies already quite some time. And now we just basically have a very capable, very efficient technology for a lot of IoT use cases. So this makes it a very interesting for academia, and we are able to be part of developing all sorts of things with this. So it's very flexible. So that makes it a very interesting technology. And of course, it's very cost efficient. So that's always a plus. And we can do a lot of things with this.
And you're involved with something which I think you call USWA, or the Ultra Scalable Wireless Access project. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, this time I don't have a full day for that, but I can just briefly summarize the project. So it's basically a collaboration project that is funded by Celtic Next, this kind of a Eureka cluster. So we basically have a lot of companies and research institutes around Europe, which each have their own national funding points, but basically we are developing on how to best utilize this DECT NR Plus and its first products that have become available, this kind of commercial products during this project. So you could say that that's the main idea of the project. We are collaborating with the industry, coming up ways on how to utilize this best and even develop it further. So that's actually briefly mentioned what's the target of this.
So, and what would you say is the main goal of USWA?
That's a hard to answer, but I think in a bigger picture, we've done a lot of contributions to the standardization. For example, the release 2 that has now become available. We've been during this project been involved with that. So I think that has been one of the quite nice practical and things that will push the technology even further. So I suppose something like that.
Okay. So people from outside may wonder, and you can hopefully explain how academia can really contribute to the development of a standard and to the design and rollout of a technology such as DECT NR Plus. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, I say that it is possible, but it requires collaboration. Collaboration is the key in many projects and many cases. So when you have good partners, you have a collaboration of industry players, you have a collaboration of research institutes. So in that context, you can really push things forward. And as I just mentioned, we've been already contributing to the standard development, and that is actually something very nice. And you can see really that we are, affecting how the technology is being developed and pushed further.
And how does this work in practice? Are you involved in actual hands-on work, implementations and testing, or just theoretical research?
It's both, of course. It starts with theoretical work, of course, definitions. How should we, push things further? Then it usually moves into simulations. So when you have defined what kind of systems you have, you want to test those in theory, how well it would work, and then eventually come to the hands-on part. I'm more of a hands-on researcher, if you would say. So I've involved quite a lot in this kind of practical work where we are, as part of my job is developing this research infrastructure. So of course I'm then utilizing these new technologies and implementing these so that we can then utilize in many different, whether it's some research projects or some education related, some student works or whatever it is. So that's part of that.
And how does it work for you? Is there an end point to the USWA project? And if there is, what's the final deliverable?
So this project has been going on now for 2.5 years, roughly speaking. So we still have about half a year to go in terms of the funding. So basically you do have an endpoint because then the funding ends. But of course, now specifically when the project starts to be closing to the end, then there's discussions and plans on further projects that would continue, at least in some sense, the work that we have done so far. And in most cases, the work will continue anyway. It's now then the question of within which projects the work will be carried out. But in regards to final deliverables, of course, these projects have, from the funder's point of view, we will then deliver a lot of so-called deliverables or reports on different things we've been studying. And of course, I see, as already mentioned, as a long-term, this kind of a deliverable are these various and numerous contributions we've been made during this project and will still make on the standardization itself. And as well, the many publications we've done during the project. So that is, of course, still continuing.
Okay, well, you've been deeply involved for quite some time now, and I guess you must have an opinion. How ambitious or optimistic should we be about the potential for DECT NR+?
Yeah, well, I thought about this, that yeah, am I too biased to say something about this question? But I think that as we have a huge number of publications, we have like now commercial devices and even new chipset developers coming into the play. So I think the future looks quite good, and we have quite optimistic expectations, because we have, as said, very capable technology that is suitable for a lot of use cases. So it makes it very interesting, and there's a huge potential to be used in many places. So I think that's very nice.
Good, thank you for that. Well, it's been very interesting to get your perspective as an academic. What would you, as a representative of a university yourself, expect from the DECT Forum in terms of getting other academic institutions to become interested in DECT NR+?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And well, personally, I think that when you get to meet the experts in the field, specifically now the academia representatives, you would want to get face-to-face with them, and the best place, in my opinion, is to attend, for example, conferences, because those are really the places when of course, conferences which are dealing with IoT or DECT NR+ directly. Yes. For example, in the following summer, well, during summer we have the EU CNC, so we actually do have there a special session on DECT NR+. So that's actually a good place then to distribute information and get in touch with the other experts in the field. And those are really the places I feel that's a bit easier than trying to connect and contact people from various universities or research institutes. So get in touch with the the experts in this kind of an events, I think that's a good way to promote the visibility and that way get in touch.
Well, there's no question that your input is very valid, so we must make a good job of doing that. Thanks so much for your time today, Joonas. It's been very good getting a different perspective on the world we live in. I look forward to seeing you at future events and perhaps talking to you on other occasions like this in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and as I said, we can meet up at EUCNC, so I will be there. So that's
okay. We'll make it. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.